Hare Krishna. Welcome to our monthly Bhagavad Gita discussions. Very happy to once again be with all of you. And we are on the fourth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. We have completed the first three chapters last time. How many of you are coming for the first time to the glad sessions? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, few of you. So I'll just briefly summarize the first three chapters and then we'll dive into the fourth chapter. Last time we were supposed to start the fourth chapter, but then we started discussing something else. Yeah, last time we discussed. Yeah. Okay, fourth chapter is called Transcendental Knowledge. Now, the background of this fourth chapter is, in the first chapter of the Gita, Arjuna gives different reasons for not fighting the war. And we drew lessons from our own lives, how sometimes we get overwhelmed. We are kind of bamboozled by all the negativity and the responsibility that we get, and then we just don't want to do anything. We want to quit. We falter. And Arjuna actually is a great warrior who's never lost a battle in his life. But he lands up saying that I can't fight this. So then he gives different excuses for not fighting the war. That's the first chapter. Krishna doesn't speak a word in the first chapter of the Gita. The second chapter, we give an acronym to remember the second chapter. That's when the Bhagavad Gita actually starts. In the sense, Krishna's instructions start. So how do we remember the second chapter? Gita. Gita. G-I-T-A. G stands for Guru, I, identity, T, two duties, and A is Atmara. So Guru, the first lesson we learn in the Gita is Krishna is only scolding Arjuna. He's just chastising him. He doesn't give any knowledge. Only when Arjuna stops discussing like a friend and accepts Krishna as a guru, that's when Bhagavad Gita knowledge transmission starts. So that is Guru. Then the first knowledge that Krishna gives Arjuna is that we are not the body, we are the soul. That identity, just like a car has a driver, this body has a soul. And I, the real I, is a soul covered by this body. And we spend our whole life taking care of the car but starving the driver. So Bhagavad Gita offers us a new paradigm of taking care of the driver. So that was the second topic. And then T stands for two duties. Krishna explains to Arjuna how we have two duties. Duties for the body, mind, intelligence, this body, which is called our Swadharma, which is our duties based on our nature that we have acquired. And then there is something called a Sanatana Dharma, which is a duty of the soul, which is to connect to God and seek something higher and not simply be trapped by our day-to-day events, IPL now, T20 World Cup and politics news, exit polls, everybody is into this. So this may be needed. But Bhagavad Gita teaches us to be spiritually absorbed, politically aware, culturally sensitive, and socially active. But absorbed spiritually. Many of us get politically absorbed and spiritually we are just aware. But Bhagavad Gita is different. Anyway, so that is two duties, G-I-T, and A is Atmara. For lack of another word, we just have, this is Swayam Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj gave this acronym. Atmanam is basically, Krishna is talking in the last section of the second chapter, the qualities of a self-realized person. How does he walk? How does he sit? How does he deal with people? Because one who realizes I'm not the body, I'm the soul, what is his lifestyle? So that is the second chapter. Then third chapter is called Karma Yoga. Krishna tells Arjuna, get up, fight, don't be lazy. Because Arjuna is trying to avoid the war. He says, I don't want to fight and I prefer to beg. So Krishna is admonishing him. So Karma Yoga also is easy to remember. The chapter, that's an acronym we gave, TREE. T stands for Tyaga. The first topic of the third chapter is where Krishna explains the principle of renunciation. How giving up is not the solution. Giving up the results of our activity is the solution. And then we discussed how sometimes some politicians may practice this principle of Tyaga and they may be peaceful. See, if one or two people criticize us, we won't get sleep at night. But there are some politicians also, either they are thick-skinned because they are either into intoxication and they are thick-skinned, or they must be really karma yogis that they're not affected. It's possible. So only when you are absorbed in a higher purpose, you cannot be affected by the world's dualities. So Tyaga is the first topic. Then R is the rungs of yoga ladder. Krishna explains how the lowest level we have people who are simply interested in gratifying their senses. They are called karmis. Then there are people who want to enjoy, but they want to enjoy better, so they do some religious activity. Just like tadka, like dahi vada mein you put little coriander leaves. So main item is dahi vada. Upar thoda dhania patta dal diya. Similarly, the main thing is I want to enjoy gratification, but let me put little religion on top. Let me go for some satsang, So that's like karma kanda. Then higher than that is karma yoga. Then we discuss different types of karma yoga. Sakama karma yoga, nishkama karma yoga. How I give an example from the monastery. How somebody came to our ashram and said, I want to serve. And he brought bags for all of us so that we can distribute books. And then later on he gave a bill. So I realized, you're not actually serving. He was doing actually sakama karma yoga. He wanted results of the activity also. And after some days, another man came and said, I want to serve. And first thing I asked him, I want to take money. He said, no, Prabhuji, I just want to selflessly serve. So I was very happy. But then he had his choices. He said, I can't clean the temple hall. I can only clean the pots in the deity room. So he was doing Nishkama Karma Yoga. He was not attached to the results of his work, but he was attached to the work. And then we discussed Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is somebody who does whatever the Lord wants or whatever is needed for his beloved. So that's more. So like that. That is rungs of yoga ladder. TR, then E is example, exemplary action. Because Krishna tells Arjuna that Arjuna, you don't need to perform. Even if you're self-realized, see in the Vedic paradigm, for those of you who don't know, it is said that when you develop a lot of knowledge and understand spirituality, then you naturally seamlessly gravitate towards renunciation. It's like you give up the world. Even if you are a hardcore politician who's greedy, but if you are well versed in the Vedic scriptures, even if you don't want to give up, you speak about giving up. Like the Prime Minister Modi, one of our devotees met him once. He was in Saffron. The devotee was in Saffron. So while conversing, this is a very close friend of mine. So he told Mr. Modi that he appreciated him, I think. And then Modi said immediately, no, but what I'm doing is temporary. I have to eventually give it up. So immediately my friend said, see, it's okay for you to say that, but I can't say that. I can't say that about you. So in India, those who have studied spirituality, even if they're attached, but they'll speak about giving up. That's kind of part of the Vedic culture. You have to give up at a certain age, everything. So Krishna is telling Arjuna in this section that Arjuna, even if you are so highly realized that you want to give up, don't give up. Because you set a proper example. Because what great leaders do, common men follow. So you perform your duty, fight the war. So like that. So that is example. And then after all of this, Arjuna says, Krishna, I know all of this, but I can't do the duty. Why? And that is the last topic of the third chapter. What is that? E? Eternal enemy, that is lust. And Krishna speaks about the psychology of lust. Lust is an obsession that we want. So in a gross sense, lust manifests as sex desire, but there is more to lust than simply sexual obsession. So then we discussed the topic on lust and we discussed many stories. But that is how the third chapter ended. But last month, when we had the session, it was a very important session because now we're entering the fourth chapter where we're going to enter into Krishna's world. So we discussed a very important topic last time. Anybody remembers? Want to say something? No. Chanting. We did something on chanting, but I also spoke about how to hear spiritual topics. That is Shravan, Mananam, Nididhyasanam and Vandanam. So there are 4 steps of understanding spiritual topics. First is hearing or studying. But hearing and studying is not important it is not as important as what you have learned. So I won't ask you if you go for an exciting class, like when somebody comes and says, I heard Jai Shakti's talk or Gaur Gopal's talk. I say, okay, I don't ask them what you heard. I ask them what you learned from this. So learning is deeper than simply hearing. And then more than learning is third thing, which is Nididhyasanam, which is applying. What can you apply in your life? That is Nididhyasanam. So hearing, learning, applying, and then the fourth is Vandanam is prayers. What can I pray based on this learning that I've got? How can I connect to the Lord based on this knowledge? So we discussed that, and then we had a discussion in the class that we've had 10 sessions of glad so far. So what have you heard? What do you remember? What have you learned? And all that we had. So we spent a lot of time. Then we chanted also. We discussed the 4 ways, the things to do with the mind, how to separate yourself from the mind, all of that. So that is all done. So now we're entering the 4th chapter today. So what I'll do now is I'll give you a summary of the 4th chapter. Once we get an idea of what the 4th chapter is all about, then we will chant a few verses. And we'll spend some time discussing. I'll chant a verse, you repeat after me, and then one of you reads the translation, and then I'll explain that verse like that. We'll take a few verses from the Gita. So, okay, now what is the 4th chapter all about? It is called transcendental knowledge. Knowledge, we all know what it is. Transcendental means what? What do you think transcendental could mean? It's not a test of your English vocabulary, but
eternal knowledge. Beyond duality?
Yes, excellent. So, see, we are living in a world of duality. Like, we love someone, we hate another person. There is victory, there is defeat. There is opulence, there is poverty. Happiness, there is sadness. So, this is a world of duality. Constantly, pleasure, pain. So, this world is called as a world of duality. So, knowledge, which is above this world, transcends, which goes beyond this world, that is called transcendental knowledge. So what is the background of this, what is the context of this chapter? Krishna repeatedly spoke about working with knowledge in the 2nd chapter and the 3rd chapter. In the 2nd chapter, he told Arjuna, get up Arjuna, fight equipped with knowledge. And 3rd chapter, Krishna says, one should do karma yoga with knowledge. He mentioned many times working with knowledge in 2nd and 3rd chapter. So at the end of the 3rd chapter, you may wonder, what is this knowledge Krishna keeps talking about? So that knowledge is revealed in the 4th chapter. So that's a connection between the 3rd chapter and the 4th chapter. Now, this is a very fascinating discussion. In the 4th chapter, Krishna is going to give transcendental knowledge to Arjuna. And this chapter also can be remembered with an acronym. Years. You sent them the acronym,
Last time
I said, okay. Your ears are active, huh? You remember. Shravanam. So, one of my very dear friends, His Holiness Swayam Bhagwan Keshav Maharaj. He is London-based, Gujarati by birth, and he's an amazing person. He's just 42 and he's a sannyasi and very intelligent, excellent. His discourses are very good. You'll find plenty of his lectures on YouTube. So he wrote a book on the acronyms of the Gita. So that's how I took it from. So I found this acronym very interesting. See, 4th chapter of Gita is knowledge. And in Vedic parlance, knowledge is transmitted through hearing. Vedas are called as Shruti. Shruti means hear. So he has given a good acronym, ears, E-A-R-S. So it's easy to remember. So E-A-R-S, ears. Okay? Tears. So first E stands for eternal knowledge. For the first 10 verses, Krishna is going to speak about how Arjuna, what I'm going to share now, please understand, this is not something I'm just telling you offhand. It's not that I just realized something last night and I got some realization and I'm sharing with you. No, what I'm sharing now is eternal knowledge. Krishna says, Arjuna, I spoke this millions of years ago to sun god Vivaswan. Now, sun is a planet. Now, it's another topic we'll discuss some other time. And there is a president of that planet. His name is Mr. Vivaswan. So, Krishna says, how I spoke this long time ago. And now I'm speaking this to you because you are my very close friend. And Arjuna is shocked. He said, what? Because Arjuna and Krishna were of same age. They were both 125 years old during the battle of Kurukshetra. So, Arjuna is thinking, Krishna, but we are friends. And how can you speak to him? I mean, how old are you? We are the same age, right? But then Krishna smiles. He says, no, Arjuna. We have both taken many births, but I remember everything and you don't remember anything because you and I are not same. We are same, but we are different. And then he explains how he is never born, how he is the God. And then all that he explains about his birth, his activities. That is eternal knowledge. That is first 10 verses. Then 11 to 15, Krishna we can remember this section as accurate understanding. A stands for accurate understanding. Because there are some misconceptions about spirituality in India. One of the misconceptions is all paths are same. So there is unity in diversity. Krishna advocates that in the Gita. But in this section he says there is a slight difference. It's not simply that you do anything and you get the same result. No. Ye yatamam prapadyante tam sateva bhajamyam. In text number 11, Krishna says, see, if you approach, the way you approach me, I reciprocate accordingly. You can't say that you do anything and it's the same. Now, you can't board a flight from Mumbai to Delhi thinking that, all planes are okay. I want to go to Thiruvananthapuram. You can't say I'm boarding this plane to Delhi and I land up in Thiruvananthapuram. Maybe that flight will eventually reach Thiruvananthapuram. But right now it's going to Delhi. Similarly, you can't say I'm doing this path, it will all go to Krishna. No. So Krishna clarifies that, accurate understanding he gives. And the next verse, the 12th verse, he gives an understanding about how sometimes we think all the devatas are same. You could worship ghost, you could worship any god. So Krishna, see, Vedic, the 7th chapter, when we come, we discuss in detail how Vedic structure of gods is actually very broad-minded. It's like a joint family system. And Krishna says, those who are interested in selfish desires to enjoy, they generally prefer to go to the devatas. But those who want to only love and serve me, they come to me. So Krishna clarifies the difference between those who come to him and those who go to the devatas. But again, I want to clarify, ISKCON is International Society for Krishna Consciousness. That doesn't mean we disrespect the devatas. I mean, I myself go to Babalnath and I have gone to Vaishnavi Devi and I go to my Kula Devi temple. So, as I said, it's a joint family. So, how do we understand the Vedic God system? Our Gaur Gopal Prabhu gives a beautiful example which has stayed with me. And he gave this many, many years ago. He said it's like a young girl who gets married typically it's an Indian joint family system. So when she gets married and she joins a family, her first attachment is to whom? Her husband. But she can't say that I'm attached to my husband, so I'll ignore everybody else in the family. No, she has her Devar, Sasur, Sasuma, Devrani, all that, different relatives are there, cousin, nieces, nephews. You'll be a sabka sath uska relation. But she can't say, okay, everybody is important, so I'll ignore my husband. No. Her first attachment is to her husband, but she's also part of a bigger family. Similarly, we as Hare Krishna devotees, we know our Pati, Gati, Rati, our attachment, our Lord, our destination is Krishna. But all the devatas are part of the same family. So culturally we are united and we are one. So that's how we see. So that is the accurate understanding. And the third accurate understanding we get in this section is about, very important, about this caste system. Krishna clarifies what exactly is this stratification, social stratification. The Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. It's not discriminatory. It's not based on birth. Krishna clarifies it's based on functions, your talents. So it's not Janma Karma. It's Guna Karma. It's your nature. So that's how Krishna clarifies. So that is about the accurate understanding we get. So what are the first two topics from the 4th chapter? Eternal knowledge and accurate understanding. So this covers the first 15 verses of the 4th chapter. Then is EAR. R stands for reaction-free work. So many times when you work, see, anything you do, you get a reaction. You do good to others, you get good reaction. So all of us, like, simple example, you eat, if you just go on the street and you slap someone and he'll slap you back, instant reaction you get, right? Some actions get instant reaction. Some actions get delayed reaction. Like if you go to Chowpatty beach and eat something, like you eat a very, very spicy pani puri, then next morning you'll get reaction. So delayed reaction. So some karma actions, you get immediate reactions, some you get delayed reactions. So similarly, we all perform actions and we get reactions. Many of us, we want to do good activities so that we get good reaction. But Krishna explains good reaction is also bad, because ultimately to enjoy the fruits of those actions, you have to again take birth and go through the samsara cycle. So if you are really smart, you won't do bad karma and you also won't do good karma. You would do activities that are beyond good and bad. That is called neither karma nor vikarma. Vikarma means bad, karma means good action. There is something called as akarma. Krishna explains this concept. Akarma means actions that give you no reaction. Which means having a divine consciousness, of course, it goes without saying that action is going to be good. It's good karma, but that which is spiritualized. Like for example, giving food, charity, that's good karma. And you starve someone, you siphon off funds and you cheat someone, that is bad karma. So in ISKCON, what we do is we distribute food to the poor, needy. We have a program called Food for Life. So if you calculate every 4 seconds, one person on the planet is getting a free food from ISKCON temple. So there's a whole calculation, some millions of people every day and all of that. So every 4 seconds, one person is getting food. So you may think, oh, acha kaam kar rahe ho. You are doing good karma. No, it is not ordinary good karma. It is akarma, because that food is first offered to the Lord and there is a prayer offered that whoever eats this food, let his spiritual life begin. Let him get free from the reactions of negativity. Let him not get trapped by his mind. These are the kind of prayers we offer. So then this becomes prasad. So externally, it is good karma, but it is beyond simply good karma. So that is akarma. So Krishna tells Arjuna the art of working in such a way that you don't get reaction. So that is the third topic of the 4th chapter. And the last is S. S stands for sacrifice. So the first 10 verses is all about eternal knowledge. 11 to 15 is accurate understanding. Then 16 to 24 is reaction-free work. And then the last, I think 42 verses are there in this chapter. 42 verses. So the last 25 to 42 is all about sacrifice. So Krishna explains that, see, there is a difference between spiritual knowledge and material knowledge. To acquire your knowledge, let's say you want to become a physicist or a doctor. Material knowledge is acquired, what you need to acquire material knowledge is caliber, competence. But spiritual knowledge is developed. There's a different approach. It's not caliber, it's character. The character determines how you understand spiritual topics. That's why, we can't have someone who's like discussing Bhagavad Gita and also taking drugs, or, it's like one of our devotees, he saw somebody who was a big scholar of one of the bhakti literatures in US somewhere. So these devotees went to meet him. They thought he must be a devotee because he had done PhD on a very intricate bhakti scripture which not many people know about. So this scholar, professor, invited them inside and he offered them liquor and meat and all of that. And so the devotees are wondering. Then the devotees asked Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada said, he's a scholar, he's not a devotee. See, he will have material understanding of Gita, but Gita will remain hidden from him. So character is needed, and to develop the character, we need to make sacrifices. We need to give up certain things which ordinarily people consider as pleasurable. And the highest sacrifice we have to make to get the highest knowledge is sacrifice of the ego. the false ego. And that sacrifice is made when we approach a genuine spiritual master and inquire from him submissively and serve him and learn from him. And that is the last section, 4.34. Krishna speaks about this mode in which we understand spiritual knowledge. Actually, even in this world, you'll see that to get really trained, you need a coach. We have people where we have, for learning Bharatanatyam, you need a guru. For business, you need a guru. Even the ordinary truck wala who's, carrying, transporting things from Gujarat to Mumbai, uska bhi ek chela rehta hai, jo uska massage karega, uska chai laega. And after 5 years, he will allow him to touch the wheels of the truck driving. You will not allow him to. Our kitchen, I was assisting in the kitchen for 3 years when I joined. And I wanted to learn all the recipes. He would not teach me. Our head cook, pehle sabji kato, pot wash karo. And then slowly, when he's pleased with my attitude, then he reveals. So there's a difference between material knowledge and spiritual knowledge. So here the character, the mood, the attitude, that plays a very important role. So these are the 4 topics of the 4th chapter. E stands for eternal knowledge. A, accurate understanding. R, reaction-free work. And S, sacrifice. So having said this, now we will take up some important verses from the 4th chapter. And we'll continue this next class also, so that then we'll be able to complete the 4th chapter. So let's begin. So today, one of you will have to loudly read the translation. So we'll read the translation after we chant the verse. Who would like to read? Magna? You have the access to the translation. Okay. So first verse, please repeat. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Imam vipashvate yogam.
Imam vipashvate yogam.
Proktavanaham avyayam.
Proktavanaham avyayam.
Vivashvan manave praha.
Vivashvan manave praha.
Manorikshvakave bravi.
Manorikshvakave bravi.
The personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Vivaswan, and Vivaswan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ishvaku.
And then how was this knowledge transmitted? Krishna reveals in the next verse. Please repeat. Evam parampara praptam.
Evam parampara praptam.
Imam rajarshayo vidu.
Imam rajarshayo vidu.
Sakale neha mahata.
Sakale neha mahata.
Yogo nashtah parantapa.
Yogo nashtah parantapa.
This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost.
So Krishna is revealing what has happened, and then he says, so this knowledge was transmitted like this, but it got lost. But now I am telling this to you. Arjuna was chosen. This is a very important section you're going to hear now. Why Arjuna? All people Arjuna. Krishna could have spoken the Gita to anyone else. Bhishma, Drona, Yudhishthira. But why only Arjuna? So Krishna reveals that reason in the next verse. Sa evayam maya tedya.
Sa evayam maya tedya.
Yoga prokta puratanaha.
Yoga prokta puratanaha.
Bhaktosi me sakha cheti.
Bhaktosi me sakha cheti.
Rahasyam etaduttamam.
Rahasyam etaduttamam.
That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you, because you are my devotee as well as my friend, and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science.
So to understand the mystery of Gita, Rahasyam, Krishna says is not ordinary Rahasya. Rahasyam etad uttamam, the topmost secret. He says Bhagavad Gita is topmost confidential knowledge. It's a Rahasya. Uttamam Rahasya. But you can understand, and I am telling you this because you are Bhakto Sime Sakha Cheti Bhakta. You are my devotee. and Sakha, you are my friend. So if you have this mood, I want to have a relationship with Krishna, then we understand the Gita. Otherwise, it's like licking the bottle of honey from outside. You won't taste the honey. Something will be missing in the Gita. So there are many scholars of the Gita, and it may be intellectually stimulating, but उसमें रस नहीं होगा. रस, there is something called as गीता में एक रस है. वो भक्त और सखा को समझेगा. That's why it's very important that we approach the Gita in a mood of devotion, not simply intellectually stimulating discussions. Won't really see. Intellectual discussions will at the end of the day leave you dry. That gnawing vacuum in your heart won't be filled with simply intellectual discussion. We need to have knowledge, but that remains in the head. But if it has to penetrate the heart, if it has to create an impact in the heart, we need to also cultivate the attitude of devotion and a friendly attitude towards Krishna. Then when somebody is speaking Gita, it will make sense. If the speaker and the hearer are in this mode, then Gita can do miracles. Srila Prabhupada will give an example. If the husband is potent and the wife is fertile, their combination will produce a child. So then Srila Prabhupada would say, similarly the speaker is carrying Krishna and if the hearer is receptive, in that Sangha, Krishna will be born. In that satsang, there will be, you will experience the Lord in your heart. Sometimes people give discourses on the Gita and I'm like, I keep myself aware of what's happening. And I know all the different spiritual gurus and some of them, they're very sincere, but some of them there is no, I don't feel that, what do you say, rasa nahi hota. And some of them are outlandishly, they are cheating. It's like they have an agenda, but they know that if they speak about it, nobody will listen to them. So they use the Gita to present their philosophy. It's like, I saw one video many, I think last year, Rahul Gandhi was giving one talk in Kerala and one man was translating. And he was saying something else and he was confused. So imagine somebody is giving a talk and the audience knows only Hindi. And this fellow is speaking in English. And he's giving and there's a translator, okay? And the translator knows English and Hindi. And in the audience, you are the only one who knows both English and Hindi. And you're watching, this speaker is saying something in English. And the audience is hearing from the translator. And the translator gives his own class. And you are like, hey, what are you saying? That's not what he said. You are giving your own translation. And imagine everybody tells you, come on, this is a spiritual sangha, keep quiet, why are you getting agitated? Everything is one, be peaceful. You are a spiritual person, how can you be agitated? If somebody says that, you will say, you get really angry. It's galat ho raha hai. So, you speak what you want to speak, but don't use the Gita. आपको जो लेक्चर देना है, आप अपना लेक्चर दो ना. इनके लेक्चर में आप अपना क्यों बोल रहे हो? देखो फिर कितने लोग आते हैं. Bhagavad Gita has an appeal. So if I say I'm giving a class on the Gita and then I get a lot of people and then I speak my own stuff, thoda gadbad ho jata hai. So I've seen that also. But Krishna says it will remain elusive, the knowledge. There has to be bhakti and sakha. See, and this bhakti, to develop bhakti and that sakhya, that affection for Krishna, the most important step is what we are doing now. Here. Bhakti, the triangle of bhakti is based on three things. HSC. Hearing, service, and chanting. Last time we spoke on chanting. And service is eternal. In bhakti, everybody translates bhakti as devotion. But in ISKCON, we translate bhakti word as devotional service. It's seva. Without seva, everything is then, it's hollow. You can't say, I love you, but I won't do any seva. So to develop love for Krishna, to develop bhakti, there is chanting, there is service, and this is the most important, hearing. Hearing se magic hota hai. One of the most amazing persons who fell in love with Krishna because of hearing, Rukmini. Rukmini was a young girl living in her father's kingdom, and these people who travel, they would come and they would sing glories of Krishna. So Rukmini, she would hear about Krishna and she fell in love with Krishna, and her father wanted her to marry Krishna, but her brother Rukmini was very evil. He wanted her to be married to his friend Shishupal, who was very envious of Krishna. So he plotted, he did all these things, and Rukmini was scared. She didn't want to marry Shishupal, she wanted to marry Krishna. And she said, but how do I convey this to Krishna? So she wrote a letter and she called one trusted Brahmin and she gave it to him and said, please give this letter to Krishna. And that love letter is amazing love letter. So one of the things she writes in that letter is, Krishna, I'm not responsible for falling in love with you. It's your glories I heard. So the prayer goes like this. Shrutva gunan bhuvana sundara shanvatam te nirvishya karna vivare haratom gatapam rupam drisham drishamatam akhilartalabham tvayachyuta vishata chittam apatrapam me. Apatrapam me means shameless. Now during those days, whatever the culture was, girls would not write love letters like that to boys. They were not dating, they were not knowing each other. And so she's saying, you may think I'm a shameless girl who's written a love letter to you and you don't even know me. Let me clarify why I wrote this. So Pehla, she gives clarification to Krishna. She says, what do I do, Krishna? Shrutva gunan. I am hearing your glories. Shrutva gunan bhuvana sundara shanvatam te. Ab itne sundar ho. I'm just hearing about your beauty. Nirvishya karna vivare. All that topics entered my ear holes. Haratonga tapam, all that anguish in my heart, everything has become pacified just by hearing about you. Rupam drisham drishamatam akhilartalavam, just by hearing about your glories, I feel I've got everything in life. Now I want you. I don't want anyone else. Then she says, Tvayachyuta vishata chittam apatrapam. So you are responsible for my shameless behavior. So she tells Krishna like that. You are so attractive. You are so wonderful. Krishna's beauty, in the Bhagavatam, many places is described to a beautiful blossoming lotus flower. Many times it's called Pankaja. Pankaja means lotus. So there is a verse Kunti Devi says, Namo Pankaja Navaya. My respects to Krishna whose navel is like lotus. Namo, I chant that prayer in the class. Namo Pankaja Navaya, Namo Pankaja Maline, Namo Pankaja Netraya, Namaste Pankajangre. आपका पूरा अंग जो है पंकज जैसा है, लोटस जैसा. Namo Pankaja Netraya, your eyes are like lotus. Namo, your nabi, your navel is like lotus. Your garland is of lotus flowers. So what we did once, is a true story. 2014, in the month of May, we had put beautiful chandan on Gopalji deity in our temple, and we garlanded the deity with the lotus garland, and we put this verse in printout and we put it there in front of the deities, so that verse could be seen from the back of the temple also. And what are the verse? Namo Pankaja Navaya, Namo, Namo Pankaja Priya, and the lotus flowers everywhere. And that was the election time. 2014. So one Congress fellow came and he said, "ये आप लोग इधर भी politics करते हो?" Lotus लगाया सब जगह और नमो 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 नमो. Then we explained to him and then he also laughed, of course. But the point is, Namo is, I think, short form for Narendra Modi. So Namo, Namo and Lotus. But it was not, there was nothing to do with politics. But yeah, Krishna's beauty is compared with Lotus. So Rukmini is saying, "You are so beautiful." So now she wants to tell Krishna, "Krishna, see, I have heard about you. I'm in love with you. You please come and take me away before Shishupal touches me." And if you are thinking, why I want to marry you, when a girl is getting married to a boy, her parents or her elders, they want to see that the boy is having good qualifications. So I want to assure you that you are the most qualified person. So then she gives all the qualities of Krishna. Katvam mukunda mahati kula shila rupa vidya vayo dravinadam abiratma tulyam Dhirapati kulavati na vrinita kanya Kale narasimha naralo kamano viramam. She says, Krishna, who is better than you in Kula, your family lineage, Sheela, character, Rupa, beauty, Vidya, knowledge, Vayo, Dravinada, your wealth, सब में आप number one है. And you can be only compared with Abhiratma Tulyam. You can be only compared with yourself. Nobody else can come close to you. And you're also at the same time sober, dhira. You're not like restless. You are chivalrous. Dhira pati kulavati na vrinitaka. I'm also from a very good family. She's giving her this. And I'm a very good girl. And then she says, oh, our acharyas be purport. So after saying all this, Krishna may think, oh, Rukmini, she's writing all this because after all, she could be like any other girl. She's saying all of this to flatter me. That I'm the best, I'm the greatest. But once I get married to her, then she'll control me like any other wife would do to a husband. So I don't want to consider her proposal. So anticipating that response from Krishna, in the last line she says, Krishna, I know I can never control you because you are Kale Narasimha Naraloka Manobiram. You are the Narasimha, you are the lion incarnation. You can't be controlled by somebody like me. But like that, she is begging Krishna, please come and take me. So this process of hearing is extremely powerful. But for us, we are not spontaneously attracted to Krishna like Rukmini. So for us, there is a process given in the Bhagavatam. We can also become Krishna's friend and Krishna's devotee if we follow this process. And that process of hearing is called Shrinvata Shraddhaya Nityam Grinatascha Swacheshtitam Kalena Nati Dirgena Bhagavan Vishatiridi. Lord will arise in your heart if you do this thing. Shrinvata, here, but with Shraddha, with faith. Open-minded. It's not that you can't ask questions. It's just that willing to understand. Shraddhaya Nityam, here regularly. Not that once in a month. Regularly suno. Shrinvata Shraddhaya Nityam, and very important, Grinatascha Swacheshtitam. थोड़ा मेहनत से सुनो क्योंकि नींद आएगा सुनते समय. Right now, if I sit and say, okay, today is your birthday, we are going to glorify you. Others may sleep, but you won't sleep. If you speak about me, I will not sleep. But when we speak about Krishna, we fall sleepy in the class. Because we're not used to glorifying the Lord. Because you've grown up always thinking, I am the most wonderful person. तो कृष्ण का थोड़ा सुनते समय थोड़ा इसलिए स्वचेष्टितम थोड़ा मेहनत करो. See, when I joined the ashram, we used to have classes which would last for 4 hours, 5 hours sometimes. So that time we didn't have a smartphone to distract us. So we had no choice. Even if we were bored, we used to sit in the class. Sometimes we would fall sleepy, and when we fall sleepy, we would stand up and stand on the side. खड़े होके सुनते थे. पर because we were following the process of swacheshtitam, working hard to hear. So that purifies the heart. तो सुनने का भी एक कला होता है, खड़े होने का, सुनने का. And then also I used to fall sleepy. Then I used to go to the washroom, wash my face and come back and stand to show my sincerity to the Lord that I am hearing about you. So please purify my heart. And then if you do that, Kalena Nati Dirgena, very soon Bhagavan Vishatiridi, you will start feeling a lot of attraction to Krishna. So therefore we have Bhagavatam. Of course, there's Gita going on. Once you finish the Gita, we're going to discuss Bhagavatam. And there you will find such amazing descriptions of Krishna. And you'll be like, wow. So just like Rukmini was hearing, we'll be constantly hearing about Krishna. Like Bhishma is lying on a bed of arrows, he's like about to die. And he's like remembering Krishna's beauty. Tribhuvana Kamanam Tamalavarnam Ravikara Gauravarambaram Dadani Vapuralaka Kula Vritananabjam Vijaya Sakhera Tirastu Me Anavadya. This is his prayer before he's dying. He says, Oh Krishna, Tribhuvana Kamanam Tamal. Krishna's complexion was like that of a fresh monsoon cloud, and also like the Tamala tree. Tamal tree ka complexion bhi thoda darkish, blackish. So he's remembering that complexion of Krishna. He says, Tribhuvana, there's nothing more beautiful than your form. Tribhuvana Kamanam Tamalavarnam. And on top of that, your dress that you're wearing, Ravikara Gaura Varambaram Dadam. It's like lightning, like the rising sun. It's like lightning color and sun ka color. So Krishna is wearing that dress. Vapur Alaka Kula, and you put chandan, they put chandan on your face to decorate you. Rutananabdam, and your face is like a blooming lotus flower, and you are the best friend of Arjuna. I want to remember that. He's fighting against Arjuna and he's saying, Vijaya Sakhi, Rati Rastume Anavadya. I just want to remember this form of yours, Krishna, as I'm leaving this body. And then he says something astonishing, which in this material world, nobody's beauty will be compared the way Bhishma is comparing Krishna's beauty. Like in this world, you'll never find a person, you'll never say a person is beautiful when he's sweaty and when he's all dust over his body, right? Like if you play football and then you come home, first thing you do is you take a shower. You don't want to be dirty, but in the battlefield, Krishna's body is filled with dirt. And Bhishma while dying, he's remembering that form. Yudhituragarajo vidumra vishva tachalulita shamavari alankrtasye mama nishita sharir vibidyamana tvachi vilasat kavachestu Krishna atma. Beautiful verses. He says, you are riding the horses, you are driving the chariot. He's a charioteer, okay? Krishna is the Supreme Lord and Arjuna is making Krishna drive his chariot. And in the battlefield, sometimes, the warrior has to instruct the driver and the noise is too loud. Somebody is blowing the conch shell, somebody is screaming. So the warrior, when he has to instruct the driver, sometimes he has to kick him. So if he wants to go on the right side, he'll kick him on the right. So Krishna is taking that position for his devotee. Imagine you're in a taxi and you want to tell the driver to go right and you slap him on the right side. You can't do that to the driver. But Krishna is, Arjuna is doing that with Krishna. And Bhishma is remembering that. And he's saying, Yudhitura, and as you're driving the chariot, all the dust from the hooves of the horses is falling on your body, Krishna. Vidumra Vishwak, and you are waving that chadi, kya bolte hain usko? Reins of the horses. Usko aap chadi ko ghuma rahe ho. And he's saying, Tvacha vilas, he says, Shamavari alankrtasye, your hairs are flowing in the wind, and your face has become ashen color because of the dust. And Shamavari, and there are drops of perspiration falling from your forehead as you're driving the chariot. And I'm finding this extremely beautiful. That's how Krishna is so beautiful, that even when he is perspiring and he is all dust on his body, he is so beautiful. And then he's saying, and this is something astonishing. He says, Mama Nishita Sharir, I find your body so beautiful when I'm shooting arrows at you and your body is bleeding at different parts. I've shot arrows on your arms and it's bleeding. Mama Nishita Sharir, I have shot you. But I'm finding that form very beautiful. Srila Prabhupada writes a purport there that Bhishma loves Krishna. So that arrow which has shot in Krishna's body and is bleeding, that's not out of enmity. Srila Prabhupada says that is a love bite. And then he explains the whole concept of a love bite, that purport. So then he says, Bhishma shooting arrows, it's like a lover throwing rose petals at his beloved. So that's a different rasa. So Krishna can reciprocate amazingly with different devotees. So when we hear about Krishna, this is what happens. So this is about hearing part. This is a very, very important part of developing affection for Krishna. But the second is very, very important. That is SHSC. S stands for Seva. Seva mein meva hai bhakti. And when we start serving, go beyond ourselves, everything in Krishna consciousness appears logical, scientific. Everything makes sense. नहीं तो सब कुछ इधर ही रहेगा. One of the top psychologists, now he's a great psychologist, that time he was a medical student. I have told this story here, I don't know. Dr. Deepak, he was from JJ Medical College. I used to go to that college with Gauranga Prabhu for classes. And every class he would ask challenging questions. Left, right, center. And then Gauranga Prabhu would patiently answer him. And I would be very irritated. Why do I try to understand? Why he's only asking challenging questions? And one day Gauranga Prabhu said, you know what, Deepak, we have this Barsana eye camp. We go and serve all these villagers there. We do cataract operation. Every year we do that eye camp. for 1 month. Why don't you join this year with our volunteers? So he agreed. And he went for 1 month and then he came back and again for the weekly class he was there. And after the class, any questions? And everybody looked at him. And he's like... Then I said, अरे पूछो. Fully satisfied. वो सेवा से ना सब सेवा में बहुत पावर है. One of the most amazing examples of seva is Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya. Do you know him? Have you heard his name? The founder of Banaras Hindu University. He's got Bharat Ratna also, and when he was a young boy, he was expert in Bhagavatam, and he was also a great lawyer. And he resigned as a lawyer. He gave up all law, and then he started full-time studying Bhagavatam. And at that time, there was this Indian National Congress, freedom movement happening. And there was this very infamous Chauri Chaura incident where police station was burnt. And then the non-violent movement was called off by Gandhi. And some 100 people were arrested. And 80 of them were sentenced to death. And the INC approached Madan Mohan Malviya and requested him that, please, you fight the case for us. And if it has been 12 years since I have entered the court, I have forgotten law. He said, no, you are the most competent because you are so proficient and so eloquent. So, no, only you can help us. And after 12 years, Madan Mohan Malviya enters the courtroom, fights this case. This is there, this story you find on Wikipedia. And he fights this case and he's so amazing, compelling logic he presents that he manages to get all of them released. 10 of them get life imprisonment. They're not sentenced to death. And rest everyone, they're acquitted. He's so powerful that he could win that case. In fact, Justice Grimwood Mayers, who was the chief justice, was the main judge, was going through the trial. 5 to 6 times during the trial, he got up from his seat and applauded Madan Mohan Malviya. British judge. That's how powerful he was. But he had a doubt on the Bhagavatam. So he came to meet, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, ISKCON is founded by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada's guru is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So Srila Prabhupada's guru, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in 1920s, 30s, he was heading the Gaudiya mission. He was preaching Krishna consciousness. So Madan Mohan Malviya came to meet him and said, I have some doubts on the Krishna consciousness, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. Can you please answer? And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, such a big man has come. Madan Mohan Malviya ji has come. Pandit ji has come. The whole India knows him. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, to test him, said, sorry Pandit ji, I am very busy. You can please discuss with my disciples. They will answer your queries. Now, to credit of Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya, he was humble enough. He said, okay. He went to the disciples. And the disciples were simple brahmacharis. They said, oh Pandit Madan, acha aap aaye. मेरा कुछ क्वेश्चंस है, आप आंसर करें. अच्छा पंडित जी थोड़ा हेल्प करेंगे, हम पॉट वॉश कर रहे हैं और मंदिर का सफाई करना है. Such a big man. And he was again sporting. He said, ठीक है, सेवा है. He joined the brahmacharis and for 3 years they were doing all the seva. So after seva was over, they all sat down and they were eating prasadam. And as they were eating prasadam, they were relaxing, and then they said, yes Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya ji, what are your questions? He said, सारे questions answer हो गए. All doubts gone. सेवा और बाद में प्रसाद भी बहुत पावरफुल है. ISKCON is very famous for prasad. So this is very extremely powerful. So Krishna can be experienced through hearing and through service. And service के लिए you don't have to worry. Whatever little you offer, na, Krishna grabs it. Like Draupadi, when Durvasa Muni came with the 60,000 disciples, Draupadi had nothing to offer. She had an Akshay Patra and there was only one rice grain tha. And Krishna took that and सब के सब संतुष्ट हो गए. She had just one rice grain, one, थोड़ा सा एक था बस दाना. So similarly, sometimes I tell Krishna in my prayers, Krishna, पूरा life waste किया, अभी बस जो बचा हुआ 1 grain है, पता नहीं कितना साल जिएंगे. Take that. And हमारा उद्धार कर दो. Sometimes I pray, okay, we should pray like Sudama, for example. Sudama didn't even want to offer Krishna. He was hiding that poa. Krishna Jabardasti snatched it. So Krishna, I'm wanting to enjoy. I'm trying to be away from you. Could you please snatch my heart? You Jabardasti le lo mere ko. So Sudama comes back from Krishna's palace and he's chanting this. Kaham daridra papiyan va Krishna Shri Niketana Brahma bandhuriti smaham bahubhyam parirambita. Oh, kwaham daridra papyan. Look at me, I'm daridra, poor. I'm a sinful man. Wow, Sri Krishna Niketana. Wow, he is like the husband of goddess of fortune. He's so wealthy, so big, and I'm so frugal. But still, Brahma Bandhu Ritismam, I'm a social reject. I'm good for nothing. But Bahubhyaham Parinamrita, he embraced me. So he's celebrating. That was his greatest wealth. He was so happy. So we can pray to Krishna. Krishna, I'm not offering you also, but you somehow take it. Take my life. There is one poem in the Ramayana. One of the Ramayana poets, he says, every devotee of Lord Ram has a favorite place of Ram. Like we say, for us, Krishna of Vrindavan is our favorite. Some people say Krishna of Dwarka is my favorite. Krishna of Mathura is favorite. Like similarly, Ram devotees say, Nasik wale Ram hamare favorite hai. Chitrakoot Ram hamare favorite hai. So this devotee writes in his poem that Lanka wale Ram mere favorite hai. Lanka wale Ram? So he says every other place Ram went, Ram was invited. Ram was wanted. Lanka was the only place where he was not wanted. But Ram went Jabardasti. So he says, my heart is like Lanka. My heart is full of nasty desires. I don't want you. So you Jabardasti come into my heart. And conquer over me. Anyway. So the mood is we want to serve the Lord. We want to be attracted to the Lord. So like that when we practice Krishna consciousness, then we can become friend and devotee of Krishna. I would like to end with this last verse. The Bhagavatam says, if we develop this mood of devotion, Jnane prayasa mudapase namanta eva jivanti sanmukharitam bhavadiya vartam sthane stita shrutigatam tanuvang manobir ye prayasho jita asite strilokyam. Ajita, unconquerable Krishna becomes conquered. If you simply stay where you are, in your household responsibilities, in your profession, don't change. Sthane stita, be where you are. Don't have to worry. But do something important. Namanteva, be humble. Be humble wherever you are, you stay there, just be humble. Namanteva and Shrutigatam. Just hear about Krishna, be humble, stay where you are in your respective profession, in your career, in your house, wherever you are. Just be there, be humble and hear about it. Sthane stita shrutigatam tanuvam manobir, and engage the body in service and the tongue in chanting. Chanting, service and hearing, be humble, stay where you are. Then what will happen? Ye prayas se kya hoga? Ajita jitopi. Ajit Krishna. Well, Ajit means one who cannot be conquered. One who cannot be conquered will be conquered by you. And you have done nothing. You simply remained humble. You heard about Krishna and you chanted his name and you served with your body. That's how simple bhakti is. But we are complicated people. We want something that is abstract, vague, word jugglery. Anyway, I'll pause here. So we covered the first 3 verses today. Next time we'll take the other verses. Hare Krishna. Any comments or questions? We'll take first your question and then your question. Yes.
In the first text, it's written Ikshvaku.
Yeah, so Ikshvaku is the ancestor of Lord Ram. So Krishna is basically shocking Arjuna by saying, I gave it to Vivashvana, many years later Vivashvana gave it to Manu, and then Manu gave it. Ikshvaku is like many years before Ram, and Ram is like lakhs of years before Krishna. So it's like Ikshvaku is the ancestor of Ram, Dasharath Maharaj. Yes.
Hello. So actually, there's a personal problem that I'm facing. I have a colleague of mine, and she has very strong opinion, and she is very strongly anti-religion.
Anti-religion.
Anti-religion. And she always comes and because she's a colleague, and I spend 40 hours with her during the week. She always comes up with very compelling arguments. Okay, and मैं रोज घर पे आता हूँ and I'm angry and I'm thinking tomorrow I tell her this or that, but I cannot. Because I'm personally not very well informed. I'm like that very word. So I don't know that I cannot stay reaction free, and at the same time I cannot detach myself because I'm like I'll give her a proper answer.
All your questions can can be answered if you visit one website. It's like, I've not found anything more convincing than this. This is called thespiritualscientist.com. Any possible question from the scriptures. It's the most convincing platform for anybody cynical, challenging. But of course, if somebody is challenging and cynical just for the sake of it, you can't convince that person. So the best to do is to, I don't see, discussion में भी ना एक कुछ तो एक open mindedness होना, सुनने का एक humility. Otherwise, challenge, you can give me a theory and I'll tear it to pieces and throw it out of the window, and I'll give you a theory, you can throw it out of the window. So कुछ फायदा नहीं है. It's simply waste of time. So generally, I avoid such discussions because a farmer would not plant his seed anywhere. He sees if the soil is fertile. I just don't want to spend my energy and time discussing and trying to win some brownie points. उसको हरा के क्या? I may win a debate, but मेरा दिल. I remember when there are occasions when some people come. Pre-2014, this is interesting. I'm not giving any political angle to this, but I'm just telling you. Pre-2014, when I would travel like this, I don't know if this is a coincidence, but I see there is more to it than what meets the eye. Pre-2014, I travel a lot. Like last week I was in Orissa village, and now I'm going to Nasik tomorrow. So I'm traveling all the time. Every year, at least 7 to 8 missionaries and Islamic preachers would confront me. I don't know for what reason. They would think that maybe I'm in this club, so if I get convinced, maybe a lot of things can happen or whatever. Okay, Jesus is the only savior, or the Quran. Very aggressive. Post 2014, I have not met even one person. I don't know. It's a coincidence. I don't know what is it. So anyway, so one of the things why I'm saying this is when they would come and confront me, I would simply say, I can't talk with you. Because no point. I have seen that, if I'm talking to a wall, the wall would reciprocate, but this person just doesn't want to hear. तो फिर मैं उनको हाथ जोड़ के आप सही है बाबा मुझे छोड़ दो अकेला. Like there was a time when I memorized verses from the Quran and Bible, and I would quote verses from the Bible saying God has form and all that. I in fact memorized many verses from the Quran also. Because I used to meet a lot of these Gujaratis boys, Hindus who had become Muslims. Then I would try to preach to them, and after a few months I realized, "Arey Baba, ye ko to nahi convince kar sakte." Like I would prove to them how Allah is, what they talk about Allah is actually Krishna. And Allah's form is described in the second surah, 138 ayat. Ayat is a verse, surah is a chapter. And that surah is called Al-Baqarah, holy cow. And the ayat says, Ma sibgat Allah wa manassanu min Allahi sibgata. I remember a few verses now. I've forgotten many. So that verse translates as, we have derived our color from Allah. And those people at that time, Prophet Muhammad's time, they were all dark complexioned people. So they are saying, so the verse says that we have derived our color from Allah, and who is better than Allah in giving color? Like that. This kind of verses are there. So then I would feel a sense of, इसको हराया. But then वो heart transform नहीं हो रहा है. झगड़ा कर रहे हैं. झगड़ा करके मैं बोला यार अपना भजन करते हैं. और जो सुनने वाले ready लोग हैं, see, that is a very important point. Preaching essentially, religious, earlier spirituality was presented like this. Catch interested people. Srila Prabhupada came and he changed the paradigm. Instead of catching interested people, which is very few, his focus was create interest in people. So that's why we say sometimes jokes. I used to say a lot of shairis. ये क्लास में बहुत शायरी बोला है मैंने. आज संस्कृत शायरी बोला वो. आज
आपका इंस्टाग्राम पे मॉर्निंग में वो कुछ मोहब्बत के ऊपर ऐसे
वो वाला शायरी याद आ रहा है मुझे. मोहब्बत मुकद्दर है कोई ख्वाब नहीं, ये वो अदा है जिसमें कोई कामयाब नहीं. जिसे पनाह मिली उन्हें उंगलियों में गिन लो, जो बर्बाद हुए उनका कोई हिसाब नहीं. तो ये उर्दू शायरी है. आज तो क्लास में संस्कृत शायरी बोलते हैं. But the point is, to create interest in people, we do all these jokes, stories, analogies. So earlier, if you see many spiritual organizations, people were seekers. And they went. So the organization caught them. Catch interested people. But now we create interest in people. But now you have gone to the third level. Take care of people's interests. They'll never be interested. Like Gaur Gopal Prabhu, he has to take care of people. He gives them love. But there are some who bhi nahi chahiye. They don't even want love. They just want to be entertained. Fourth level. So what I do is I try to spend most of my time in the space of cash interested people and sometimes create interest in people. But taking care of people's interests, what difficult है. Especially when people are just challenging for the sake of it. मैं उनको बोलता हूँ मुझे रहम करो, बख्श दो मुझे. So, okay, yes. The last question we'll take, then we'll have Kirtan. Hare Krishna. Yes.
So one is experience from last time after we talked about chanting. But I'll start with today's thing. This line is coming to me from what I experienced. अपने सेवा की बात की तो भीतर से ऐसा लग रहा है, ये महसूस हो रहा है कि जब मन नहीं होता तो सेवा होता है. या टुडे यू ब्रॉट अ डिफरेंट पर्सपेक्टिव. सेवा करते करते मन खाली हो जाता है. तो आई हैव ऑलवेज लिव्ड द फर्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ माय लाइफ वेयर जहाँ मैं हूँ तो सेवा कहाँ हो. तो मन के पार कैसे हो, फिर जो है वो स्वयं सेवा होता है. बट सेवा के से मन के पार, तो I know it's connected, but I would like to bring this clarity. And the second last session we talked about chanting. So this is what I realized. So it's like when I did chanting, when we chant, I feel that our body and our mind, it's like we are trying to drug them, like शरीर और मन को जैसे शराब पिला रहे हैं जब हम चैंट कर रहे हैं. बिकॉज या तो हम शरीर में होते हैं या तो मन में होते हैं, वो कभी साथ नहीं होता. तो मंत्र में जो है बॉडी एंड माइंड इज एनग्रॉस्ड इन, इट्स लाइक हम उन्हें शराब पिला रहे हैं. बट जब when these two are engrossed into it, it's possible that we from the back door we can walk out and वहाँ से हम साक्षी भाव इस मन और शरीर को के पार देख सकते हैं. And that's what the chanting leads to silence. And after the last time you said, so I started meditating and chanting from a state of silence. When I did all the chants, I felt a lot of love. I felt a lot of oneness. There is not, but this was what I shared about this thing. Is in nutshell is that खतरा तब होता है जब आप चैंटिंग कर रहे हो मन शरीर, बट आप भी उस चैंट में अगर सो जा रहे हो तो फिर वो जागरूकता नहीं होती है. जब आप तो then the mantra only helps you to sleep better, which is good, but you're not awake while the mind and body is engrossed. I tried my best to explain you. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is about man, seva, and seva man. So
there are two topics here. Regarding chanting, it's not simply the body and the mind. Last time I spoke about the chitta, how the mind is composed of 4 parts: manas, buddhi, ahankar, and chitta. So when we are chanting, it's like, imagine yourself sitting in the center. On your left is Golum, your mind, and right is Krishna. So generally when we are chanting, first step is manastrayate iti mantra. Mantra means that which frees the mind. The mind thanda ho jata hai, shant ho jata hai. That silence is the thing. Once the mind is quiet, because the mind is constantly, and our head is turned towards the mind. But once we are able to quieten the mind, then we can actually turn to Krishna. And the same Hare Krishna will give you different result. When you say Hare Krishna and you are a worshipper of the mind, it's not as effective as when you say Hare Krishna and the mind is quietened and you are able to offer your heart. Like when I write in my journal, I love you, Krishna. But then I continue to write, Krishna, I really want to serve you. Dil se nahi aa raha. Then I say, kya ho raha hai? Mind is talking. So I pause and I just write down what the mind is saying. The mind is saying, call up this person, check the WhatsApp message. The mind is now saying, oh, whatever. And once I apprehended the mind, it's like catching a thief. The mind is quiet. And then I write the same sentence again, Krishna, I love you, I really want to serve you. And wow, then that comes with feeling because you have entered that Sakshi Bhava, you have entered that state of, you have separated yourself from your mind. And then your emotions, see, Bhakti Yoga is all about cultivating refined emotions for Krishna. There are different paths. If you go to other paths, they'll teach you about being still. We teach people how to be still and then have positive emotions. From minus axis, we come to zero, but that's where most of the spirituality stops. But we say, zero se plus axis mein bhi jao. Emotions develop karo. See, we are talking here about remembering Krishna. Please know, this is not about intellectual remembrance of Krishna. This is emotional remembrance of Krishna. Intellectual remembrance starting mein theek hai. But eventually, okay, Krishna was born here, Krishna was spent first 9 years in Mathura, then Vrindavan, then he went to Mathura, then he defeated Jarasandha 17 times. You can't fall in love with Krishna's biodata. You need to have emotions. So therefore, that emotions will come when we listen to the Holy Name. So that's regarding the chanting part.
Quick, so what could be done to deepen that practice where we emotionally, from the state of zero to state of...
Yeah, so that begins with hearing the Holy Name. There are 6 rules for japa. I'm not sure if we have the time now to discuss all of them. But there are 6 rules. Manah samskaranam shaucham maunam mantrartha chintanam avyagratva anirveda japa sampatti hitava. Gently pull the mind back to listening to the Holy Name. Shaucham, cleanliness. Cleanliness means not simply keeping the body clean, but also not spending an inordinate amount of time on your social media and watching the latest, politics. Okay, which actor is going around with which actress, what's happening, all those scandals. It's like you're not keeping your mind clean. Mana samskaranam shaucham maunam. Keep quiet. Quiet means not that maun vrat. What it means is not talking things that are unfavorable for spiritual life. And mantrartha chintanam. Meditate on the meaning of the mantra. And avyagratva, very important. Be patient during chanting. Don't be in a rushing mode. And anirveda means even if you don't get the results, don't give up. Be patient. So these 6 rules, if you follow, then you'll be able to enter the dynamic emotion state. Okay? And seva, there are 2 theories. प्यार होगा तो सेवा होगा. दूसरा है सेवा होगा तो प्यार होगा. दोनों सही है. But I have experienced सेवा से प्यार rather than प्यार से सेवा. क्योंकि सेवा में प्यूरिफिकेशन होता है. प्यार अभी नहीं है दिल में. It's like, I give a very crude example. A boy and a girl working in the same organization, working on the same project. So they're working together, and as they're working together, they start knowing each other. And they're working together, they're serving each other, they're knowing each other, and then they develop emotions for each other. So कर्म योगा से शुरू हुआ, फिर ज्ञान योग हुआ, फिर भक्ति योग हो गया. तो सेवा कर करके भी प्यार आता है. प्यार कैसे आएगा? It's abstract. Love is a verb. Love is not, because everybody has their own definition of love. Actually, मैंने देखा है. Oh, he doesn't love me. तो उसका definition love का अलग है, इसका अलग है. Ashram, in a brahmacharya ashram, love, seva, we have seen seva leads to love. Love doesn't lead to seva. Of course, if there is love, then there will be seva, but it begins with service. Because love is very abstract. So I have a Punjabi brahmachari with a Punjabi background. He's very expressive. ऐसा कीर्तन में पकड़ के नचाएगा सबको. And there's a South Indian Brahmin background. He finds it very awkward when somebody pulls him in the kirtan. And he told me, Prabhuji is so arrogant. He's so, he's making fun of me in front of everyone. And I confronted that Punjabi devotee. I said, "Arey, tum sabke samne usko marta hai aisa? He feels you hate him and you're so unloving." He said, "अरे प्रभुजी, हम प्यार करते हैं इसलिए तो मारते हैं उसको." तो अभी कौन सही है? वो प्यार जता रहा है, but he's not able to experience it as love. You are
actually used मन.
man, sorry,
मैंने मन
and seva.
सेवा, मतलब ये है कि जब हम सेवा करते हैं तो कर्ता भाव बहुत होता है.
Yeah.
एंड उस सेवा के प्रोसेस में हमें कैसे पता कि हाँ इन दिस नेम ऑफ सेवा वी आर जस्ट फीडिंग आवर
Ego. Yeah, it's possible.
तो जब तक आप उस स्थिति में नहीं जाए, जब तक आप मन के या मन के थोड़े पार जाओ जहाँ पे आपको और उससे आप सेवा करो तो जो है वो शुभ है. तो वो every
It's
time
okay.
you say seva,
Yeah. No, it's okay. If it's okay even if your desires are not pure, if you may be just doing it to accreditize your false ego. पर शुरू तो करो सेवा. चलेगा. False ego है. क्या? If we are not perfect, we are all like we all have unholy motivation and all of that. But we come together. We tolerate each other and we tolerate ourselves also.
Prabhuji is very sad.
मैं एक बार बोला था वो मंदिर में, क्या वो सफाई दिल से गमों की जुदाई करो, क्या है और भी है ना, दिल से गमों की जुदाई करो. तो बहुत स्टूपिड है वो. दिल से गमों की जुदाई करो, दिल मन से कुछ तो विदाई करो, फिर भी दिल ना लगे मंदिर में आओ सफाई करो. एब्स्ट्रैक्ट बोलते हैं, बड़ा बड़ा बात करते हैं, वो सब छोड़ो, प्रैक्टिकल ग्राउंड लेवल पे आके सेवा करो. सो ऐसा है. सी क्या होता है ना, हम लोग लाइक मंदिर में आई डू सेवा, वेकिंग अप द डीटीज, यू नो, वी डू आरती, बट वी डू इट दैट सेवा मन नहीं है फिर भी करते हैं. गेट अप समटाइम वी गेट अप 2:30 in the morning लाइक एंड देन मैं रोज सुबह मंदिर में मैं रोज सुबह मंदिर में घंटी बजाता हूँ. मैं रोज सुबह मंदिर में जल्दी उठकर घंटी बजाता हूँ, सोया हुआ खुद हूँ, भगवान को जगाता हूँ. So we're waking up the deities, but I'm myself sleeping, fast asleep. So yeah, सेवा नहीं है, दिल नहीं है और मन नहीं है, और प्लस बहुत अलग अलग डिजायर है. नेम फेम का डिजायर रहता है. आई वांट टू बी सीन, आई वांट टू बी रेस्पेक्टेड, यू नो, लेट मी स्पीक इम्प्रेसिवली, और लेट मी डू दिस, आई गेट द क्रेडिट. फिर वो दिल है कि मानता नहीं, वो आपको लगेगा मैं क्या, व्हाट आर यू लुकिंग फॉर, यू नो. सो जो भी है आप आ जाओ कृष्ण के पास. ओके, आई एंड विद वन लास्ट शायरी, संस्कृत शायरी. ध्रुवा वांटेड, he was serving Krishna, he was chanting Krishna's name, but he wanted a kingdom greater than his great grandfather. He was very ambitious, passionate, and he got that. But when he got that, he was like, oh, what a fool I was. He said, Krishna, you are so amazing. Wow, you've come in front of me and I'm asking for what he desperately wanted. When he got it, he found it useless. Sthana bilashi tapasi stitoham त्वां प्राप्तवान् देव मुनीन्द्र गुह्यम् काछं विचिन्वन् अपि दिव्यरत्नं स्वामिन् कृतार्थोऽस्मि वरं न याचे. I wanted a great kingdom. I did so much sevas. I did so many things. तपस्या किया, ये सब किया. स्थाना अभिलाषी तपसी स्थितो. But what did I get? त्वां प्राप्तवान् देव मुनीन्द्र गुह्यम्. आप मिल गए मुझे. And now I realize what I desired was kacham vichinvan. It was like broken pieces of glass. Api divya ratnam. Divya ratnam mil gaya. I got a priceless diamond and I was looking for broken pieces of glass. Swamin kritartosmi varam nayache. So Krishna's blessing on you is when you have all these impure desires and you're doing seva, Krishna's blessing is when he fulfills those desires and then you feel, अरे यार ये क्या मांगा था मैंने. So that's Krishna. That's the way Krishna reciprocates. Okay, we'll stop here today. Today अलग ही रस में चला गया, भक्ति रस में चला गया. Generally we have intellectual philosophical discussions in these classes, but today we have the bhakti flavor. कभी खिचड़ी होता है प्रसाद में, कभी पिज्जा होता है, कभी अलग वैरायटी, शीरा होता है. Okay, we'll stop here. We'll have Kirtan now. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.